I know this is gonna sound crazy, but a trip to Disney World that I didn't even go on changed my career forever. Okay, I realize I need to give you guys some context because that makes no sense. In 20, oh boy, 15, 16, I had figured this all out. I was in a job I was really happy about, had broken into my field, but I wanted more. I wanted something better, higher salary, whatever that was. And I was out there networking. And I'll be honest with you, there was still a point I was like just in the midst of launching DC Hopefuls, but there was a part of me that was like, maybe this all was just luck. I've only really ever gotten one job doing this approach. Like, ugh, like I really hope this works so I can like know for a fact that this like what I'm talking about actually works all the time. And I had a good friend, and he had a good friend, and I'd gotten to know him, and I went to him. I did what I teach, and I put him in a position to give me advice. I made him feel really good and appreciated, and he said, you really need to talk to, you need to talk to this guy, Nick. And that wasn't his name, but I'm just changing it up. He's awesome. He like ran this contract at my old company. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's a great dude. He would be willing to talk to you. And Nick's willing to talk to me. We get on the phone, and it's so clear he did not remember we were having a phone call. And I hear kids in the back. I hear him like talking to his wife. It's like awful. And he's like, dude, I'm sorry. We were driving on the airport to go to Disney World. I was like, dude, you do not need to be talking to me right now. Oh my God, how fun, how exciting. The last thing you want to do is be talking to me. It's okay. I've appreciated like the 5 or 6 minutes you've given me. Like, let's try another time. And he's like, no. And we like had this awkward, like 6-7 minute more phone call ended. And I waited about a week and a half, and I wrote him a message and said, hey, I was wondering if we could ever have that phone call again. There were some still things I wanted to connect with you about. Our friend says you're a great guy, blah, blah, blah. Gets on the phone with me. And the first thing I said was like, all right, first off, how was Disney World? And he's like, what? Huh? He didn't even remember. I was like, oh, you and I were on the phone and you were on your way to Disney World. He's like, oh my God, that's right. Yeah, man. I'm so sorry about that. I was like, no, you don't have to apologize. Like, seriously, did your kids love it? Like, yeah, they had the time of their lives. Like, I'm super dad right now. I'm flying high. And I was like, oh my God. I remember when my parents took me. I'll never forget it. Like, that's so cool, dude. Like, I swear, I want to have kids just so I can go to Disney World again. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And then the conversation went on. Next time we were talking. I was like, hey, are you still super dad, or of like the fun of Disney World worn off? He's like, oh, that's old news. No. He's like, no, they're over that. They're already on to the next thing. Ha ha. But it was just remembering that thing about him and getting him to open up and share. It made the relationship it just added a layer to that relationship. Needless to say, this is the guy who ultimately put me in front of the person who would hire me for that next amazing job I would get that would really change my career, and I would stay there for 7 years and get multiple raises, right? And I really think had I just kept it purely professional and kept it straight to the point, I just don't know if I would have ever gotten him to that place where he would have felt comfortable. Because the guy he introduced me to was a friend of his, right? It was a personal relationship. It wasn't a professional relationship. So the point of this story is that when you're interacting with people, listen to what they say, take notes, write down little things you hear. They have a crazy commute. Well, you can use that. Hey, I was wondering if we connect. I know you have a crazy commute. Do you like talking on the phone? Does that make your commute go by quicker? They tell you that, I don't know, they're going to Florida for the holidays. Write them a note in the middle and just like, hey, hope you're enjoying the holidays. I'm so jealous you're in Florida. It's 20 degrees here. I would love to connect when you get back. Just anything you can show folks to say, hey, I'm listening. I hear what you're saying. It builds trust. You need people to trust you before they're going to help you. Now, let me take a step back on that, because this is a really important lesson, and I didn't plan on sharing this part, but it just popped in my head. This is fun. I think I understood that concept. Okay, people have to trust me. But I misunderstood how trust is built. And I'm going to tell you another story. And I'm going to tell you a story about John and Mary. And I'm making those names up, but they were real people that I used to work with. John told me everything about himself. Every interaction with John at work was about John. His kids, his hobbies, where he was from, what he likes, what he doesn't like. I knew so much about him, and I didn't really even ask, but I knew all about him. John could never have told you where I was from. He did not know my wife's name. He didn't know where I went to school. John didn't know anything about me. I knew a lot about John. Then you take Mary. Ask me questions. Anytime I saw her, hey, how's your wife? Oh, she's good. Oh, why'd you hesitate? Oh, she's actually been sick. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. The next day, is your wife feeling any better? Oh yeah, thanks for asking. She knew. She knew where I went to school. She knew how many siblings I had. She knew my favorite place to go get lunch. Just because she asked, and she would remember, and then she would ask about it later. So time would go on, and there was a situation where people weren't necessarily happy with John. And they weren't sure what to do with him at work, and they asked me. And I didn't throw him under the bus, but I also did not feel this urgency to advocate for him either. And it was just subconscious. I didn't feel this connection or anything to him in any real way, so I just very objectively said, yeah, he's not great in this area. And then I remember where Mary had this weird thing where, for whatever reason, she was great at her job, but they were going to have to move her because of contract things or whatever. And I remember being just hammering the table to help her. What can we do? Oh my gosh. I remember saying, hey, Mary, can I introduce you to some of my friends? I think they might be able to help you find some other things. I proactively wanted to help her because I trusted her. Because Mary knew things about me. And because she knew things about me, I felt this sense of trust. Not that I was telling her secrets, not that kind of trust, but just this sort of connection. Do you know what I mean? Versus John didn't know anything about me. And so I just didn't feel that connection, that sense of trust. And I just never would have stuck my neck out for him because I wasn't sure if it would get my head cut off or not. Or with her, it was just she knows all these things about me. Of course I can trust her to, if I make a connection, she won't embarrass me. Of course I can trust her to step up and do the things I predict that she will to other people. You see where I'm going with all of this? You build that by letting the other person share. Let the other person feel like you know who they are. And that is the key to networking. So many people network and they make it all about themselves. I need a job. Let me tell you about me. Let me pitch myself to you. Me, me, me. And that other person on the end of the phone will hang up and be like, that dude doesn't know a thing about me, right? They just talked about you. And that's fine, but it's not nearly it's not going to resonate as much. But if you flip it and you make it about them, hey, I'm really struggling for a job right now. Has that ever happened to you? How did you get here? What advice would you give me? Oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, you're from there? No way. What was that like? Instead of instantly being well, I'm from here. Oh, you're from Tennessee? What part? Oh, no way. What was that like? Oh, I went there once. I had a great time there. And then let them ask them, oh, why were you there? And then maybe you can say where you're from. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's counterintuitive. But to build a network, you got to remember things about the other person before they'll ever remember anything about you and want to help you. And even with the people you already know, you're going to have to change this dynamic in your relationship to be about them helping you professionally. So you're going to have to ask them things, even if you've known them forever. Hey, I know about your whole career, but have you ever felt this way? I don't remember you ever telling me. Have you ever felt the way I'm feeling now? Right? You might have to really dig deep because you already know a lot about them. Does that make sense? And suddenly, this person who trusts you because you're friends or you've known each other forever is going to trust you in this new professional way. They're going to trust that you're worth helping in a professional level, that they're willing to mix those two worlds of personal and professional because they're feeling that trust with you. And I could tell you stories and stories about people I would consider my best friends. They were groomsmen in my wedding, but doing this, learning things about their journey that I just didn't know about, things they weren't telling me as a friend. But there I was, humbling myself, asking for their opinions and thoughts, and I was learning so much about what they had gone through. And it really bonded us, and it got them helping me in a whole new way they hadn't been before. Again, I just remembered that they were going to Disney World. I just wrote it down in my notebook. It wasn't a trick. It was just a way to keep that relationship going and a way to frame so many of our conversations. Anyway, I hope this helps. I hope this makes sense. Now, if you're thinking, wow, that's good, I like that, I'm not sure how to put it into practice. I give you a lot of tips, but that doesn't mean you can just stop watching this video and go make it happen. Sometimes you need a bit more in context. That's why I always say click the link below, check out Career Investors. That's where you're going to get access to all of my modules. They're going to walk you from step one to the very end of building a resume that works, how to build out your network, analyze it, get the most out of it, get that professional investment, turn those into opportunities, and then start that cycle all over again. When you land that job of impact you're thrilled about, or you just advance your network, whatever it might be, you're going to go to the next set, which is all about thriving in the job that you have. You're going to get personal coaching calls with me whenever I have time on my calendar and you want to book them. You're going to get access to everyone else in the group. You can network with them offline, or you can talk to them in the Facebook group. It's an amazing resource, and it's cheaper than LinkedIn Premium. It's about 90 to 95% cheaper than all the coaching services that you're going to find out there. It's an incredible resource that I have made incredibly affordable because it's about helping as many of you all as I can and helping the folks that might not have a lot of expendable income right now. And for those of you who do, then it's a no-brainer. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. When you're feeling stuck and you're not sure how to build that trust and those relationships with folks, think of my Disney World story. What is the equivalent of that Disney World for that person right now?